given this function, we need to find the derivative. I see that it is a fraction, so my first thought is quotient rule. And the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the numerator and the denominator, and I'm going to write two functions, one for each of them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the derivative of the numerator. So 2 times 3 is 6, so it'll be 6x, and then instead of being to the second power, it'll be to the first power, 6x. And then here there's the understood 1 times negative 5, and then instead of being to the first power, it'll be to the 0 power, which means essentially that it just goes away. That's not exactly what it means, but that's what we'll call it. So 6x minus 5. Here, I've got my understood exponent of 1 times 5, and then our x just kind of goes away. And of course our constants, the derivative of those are just zeros, so we don't worry with them. Okay, so now that we've got that part, we're going to do our x for the quotient rule. This times this minus this times this. The way I remember it's minus is because we're dealing with a fraction, and this bar is kind of like a big subtraction sign. So I've got this times this over here minus this times this over here, all over my original denominator squared. Now the rest of this is just going to be stuff from college algebra and before college algebra, actually. So the first thing I'm going to do is FOIL. First is 5x times 6x, which gives me 30x squared. Outer, 5x times negative 5, which gives me negative 25x. Inner, 1 times 6x, which gives me 6x. And last, 1 times negative 5, which gives me negative 5. Then I'm going to bring down this minus, and within a set of parentheses, I'm going to distribute this 5 among each of these terms. So 5 times 3x squared is 15x squared. 15x squared, but notice I still have everything in parentheses and a minus here. 5 times negative 5x, negative 25x. 5 times 8, 40, and they're both positive, so this is positive. Now I'm going to deal with the fact that I've got subtraction. Anytime you have two quadratics or large terms like this, trinomials, if you've got one minus the other, the second one needs to be in parentheses so that you're saying that you're subtracting the whole thing and not just one of the terms. Okay, so next we're going to deal with this, and I pretend that there's a 1 here because there is an understood 1, and we're going to multiply each of these terms by that understood 1. Another way people think about it is the sign of each of these terms changes. So this will become negative, positive, and negative. So that is what I do here, negative 15x squared plus 25x minus 40. For this beginning part, remember I FOILed, and the last part of FOILing is combining like terms. So I bring down my 30x squared, and then I've got negative 25x plus 6x, which will be negative 19x, and then minus 5. And bring down my same denominator. Okay, so the last step here is combining like terms. I've got an x squared and an x squared, so that will be 15x squared. I have a negative 19x and a positive 25x. That'll be positive 6x. I have a negative 5 and a negative 40. That'll be negative 45. And then I bring down my denominator. And so that's my derivative. Please don't forget that you can go to settings and go to playback speed to slow down what I'm saying. I have to talk kind of quickly so the videos won't be too long to upload. And if you have any questions, let me know.